Let us all close our eyes for a moment. With deep love, let us remember God, all the divine incarnations like Sri Krishna, Christ, Moses, Muhammad, Buddha, Sri Rama, Zarathustra, Guru Nanak, Mahavir. Let us remember all the spiritual masters of all times and all places. And this evening, let us think of Adorable Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj and Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj. Let the blessings of God and Masters be upon all of us and everywhere, not only on the human beings, but also on all living beings. Om. Amen. As a schoolboy, I read the book of Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj. It was in the year 1974. In the backside of the book, there was a brief introduction. Swami Shivananda, born in Pattamadai of South India. The place where I was born and the place of Swami Shivanandaji's birthday sounded very close to each other. I was born at Pattamundai and he was born at Pattamadai. I thought printing error. I was very proud to find a book written by a monk, a yogi, who lived in the Himalayas, and such beautiful, inspiring book. I went on asking people, do you know Swami Shivananda? We don't know. Who is he? He was born in Pattamundai. We don't know. It was in 1974. In 1978, when I came to a bigger town for my university education, I had the first privilege to have darshan of Swami Sri Chidanandaji Maharaj, whose birth centenary we are celebrating today. I was 18, 19 years in age. It was in Cuttack. Lots of people and two monks, Swami Chidanandaji, and with him there was another monk. His name was Swami Devanandaji. He was even shorter than me, little well-built body, and Swami Chidanandaji, very thin and frailing personality, tall and towering. So then I thought Swami Devanandaji is the Himalayan tribal man accompanying this great yogi. So this is how I got introduced to Swami Shivanandaji and his foremost disciple, Swami Chidanandaji. As I told you, as a schoolboy, I read the book of Swami Shivanandaji and got motivated into spiritual path. Four spiritual masters of India whose life and teachings inspired me to move, to dive into the ocean of spirituality. One was Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. The second one was Swami Nigamananda. Third one was Swami Shivanandaji. The fourth one, who lived during my young age, but before I wanted to meet him, he passed away in 1982. He was Swami Swarupananda Paramahansa. As God wanted, I met my master in the year 1980, and he gave me the opportunity not only to practice spiritual life, practicing Kriya Yoga, he also helped me to understand the life of great people. In the word of my master, what he spoke about Swami Chidanandji. My master told, if you want to see a personification of humility, you should see Swami Chidanandji. I have seen him, and I was hearing about him, his glorification, from my own master. By God's grace, when I completed my master's degree, I had the opportunity to live months after months in Shivananda Ashram, Rishikesh. And I had the opportunity to be in close proximity of most of the direct disciples of Swami Shivanandji Maharaj. In my limited knowledge, if I go back to history, Acharya Shankara, he had quite a good number of very well-established, got intoxicated disciples. Thereafter, if I go back to history, Jesus had quite a few, 12 very powerful disciples. Thereafter, if we come, we can see Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He had quite a few very got intoxicated devotees, disciples, like Swami Vivekananda. And in the modern times, Swami Shivanandji, who professionally was a doctor, who worked in Malaysia during those days, left everything, came to the Himalayas, did austere sadhana, penance, and he got spiritual attainment, whatever a seeker seeks to attain. He had many, many beautiful disciples. So I had the opportunity to meet them, to get their blessings. And most of his disciples are gone. And maybe countable few are there. However, in my spiritual journey, Shivananda Ashram of Rishikesh, I considered as my second spiritual home apart from my master's hermitage. Whenever I had the opportunity, I spent a lot of time there, spending time with Swami Chidanandji, Swami Krishnanandji, and I will tell, in my spiritual journey, the contribution of Shivananda Ashram, Divine Life Society, and company of these great masters is beyond description of words. This year, we are celebrating birth centenary of two prominent disciples of Swami Chidanandji Maharaj. One is Swami Chinmayanandji Maharaj, the founder of Chinmaya Mission. The other one is Swami Chidanandji Maharaj, who was the successor of Swami Shivanandji and president of Divine Life Society till his last breath. When we are here to remember him and to reflect upon his life, I'll tell you a few examples. My Gurudev and he, Swami Chidanandji, came to Odisha very often. And just to tell you that the branches of Divine Life Society, the highest number of branches is in Odisha. The state which he visited the most is Odisha. He went from village to village in rural Odisha and spread the message of divine life with his unique manner. Whenever he came to Odisha in the beginning years, in 60s, so he always wanted to meet the spiritual personalities saints and sages of the state. My master, as we heard in the introduction, was the disciple of Swami Sri Yukteswarji, Guru of Paramahansa Yoganandaji. He came to Puri and lived there since the year 1938. When he was living in the ashram, practicing Kriya Yoga, observing silence for over a decade, and growing up, evolving in spiritual path, he, although experienced the formless divinity, but he loved the Divine Mother. Divine Mother was his personal, chosen aspect of divinity. Saraswati Puja normally comes in the month of January, February. My master, he was a very good sculptor. With clay, he could make marvelous, attractive idol of the Divine Mother. So Saraswati Puja has come, and he is making the idol of Mother Saraswati and coloring with the paints. And when he is coloring, holding Mother Saraswati as his daughter and coloring with so much of keen attention, he has no sense of what is going on all around him. Swami Chidanandaji entered the ashram, saw my master. He was escorted, accompanied by a group of devotees. Swami Chidanandaji indicated everybody. Shh. They went very calmly to the temple, the shrine of Swami Sri Yukteswarji, where his body is buried, meditated for some time. Then, when they came back, Gurudev has almost finished his painting, coloring. And Swami Chidanandaji, as you saw in his documentary, when he's bowing straight. This is the first meeting of my master and this great monk of modern India, Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj. There are quite a few occasions when my Gurudev and Chidanandaji in 1970s in Cuttack, there was World Conference of Religions, World Religions, and during those days, if it is clear to me, in the year 1972, about 20,000 people, and a great yogi from South India, his name was Kavi Yogi Suddhananda Bharati. He was presiding, and my master was to speak. And when he started speaking, he was given, for example, 15 minutes time to speak, many speakers, many prominent speakers. And when he started speaking, Swami Suddhananda Bharati, who was presiding, he told, continue, not to stop. Everybody was so much thrilled with his teaching. What happens in spirituality? In spirituality, theoretical knowledge is secondary. It is just like showing a toffee to a child. We need practical experience. We speak God is omnipresent. Do we realize it? We heard little ago, if one is perceiving the pain of a doll hanging with her a hair, it hurts a person. So this is the practical experience of spirituality, to feel yourself in all. Theoretical knowledge, I will give an example. from the life of Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj. Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj was a very dynamic, humorous, and practical monk. He was not just sitting and giving discourses on dry spirituality or dry scriptural knowledge. He loved everybody. Whoever came, he honored them, brought the person to satsang and requesting him to speak. A scholar on Vedanta came to deliver talk. He was talking on Vedanta in Hindi, that everything is illusion. तीन काल में जगत नहीं है. What you think as this world is non-existent. Only divinity is existing. He gave a very profound speech. After this speech, Swami Shivanandaji invited him to have some food. And when food was served, at that time, in the lentil soup, in sambar, a dal, there was no salt. When this Vedanta scholar was going to take a little bit of this soup, and he found there is no salt, he looked at others and telling that there is no salt. Swami Shivanandaji humorously told, "तीन काल में जगत नहीं है, दाल में नमक नहीं है." The meaning is, one who tells us the whole world is illusion, how this person is conscious of there is salt or no salt in food? I will tell one example from the life of my Gurudev. One day my Gurudev, with one brahmachari, reached the home of a disciple. It was noontime. They knocked the door. Father and the mother both have gone to work. 3 little girls, the daughters, they are at home. School was closed, vacation time. When these 3 little girls saw Gurudev coming, you can imagine the excitement in them. They welcomed Gurudev, washed the feet, taking Gurudev inside. It was noontime, lunch hour. "Gurudev, have you taken food?" Gurudev said, "No. We'll prepare food for you." These 3 little girls, with so much of enthusiasm, cooked something. Now Gurudev is sitting, the brahmachari is sitting, food is given. Gurudev offered the food to God. After Gurudev has offered food to God, the brahmachari is whispering, "There is onion." Traditionally, those who are purely vegetarian, they don't take onion, garlic. Gurudev said, "Keep quiet." Gurudev took food. What poor brahmachari would do, followed Gurudev. Gurudev appreciated the food. They served little more. After everything was done, Gurudev told this disciple who was accompanying, "You could not see the innocence, joy, enthusiasm, spirit, love, and devotion of 3 little girls. You could see only onion. Once you have offered it to God, you couldn't feel that it is offered to God. Omnipresent God has accepted it. And you saw on onion, you couldn't see God." The meaning of this dry spirituality, theoretical knowledge is not enough. We should live with practical knowledge, with practical experience. My master used to tell, practice, practice, practice. Surely we will experience divinity, perfection within you. We should change our outlook. We should change our vision. Great spiritual masters like Swami Vivekananda, like Paramahansa Yoganandaji, like Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, and his disciple Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj, and what to speak of my master. I have seen, especially in these 2 great masters with whom I have lived, Swami Chidanandaji, as I told you, I have been to Shivananda Ashram many, many, many times. I'll tell another incident. It was in the year 2000 January. My master's hermitage in Puri. From Puri, there is Sun Temple of Konark. 12 kilometers from Puri is my master's hermitage. In between comes Chidananda Hermitage, where Swami Chidanandaji was living. During that period, we were going to conduct international intensive Kriya Yoga seminar for 10 days. Devotees from all over the world have come. So, for the inaugural program, the king of Puri was there. He told me, Swamiji, I have a request. I said, yes. We loved him. We love him as he's the first servant of the Lord Jagannath. So, our Gurudev is there in Baligwali. Why can't you invite him to come to here? If you go, surely he will come. We said, okay. The next day morning, we went. We took a basket of Mahaprasad, the consecrated food from Lord Jagannath's temple, one invitation letter, some books. We were told by some of his attendants, like Yati Dharmadanji, like. So one came, said, you can't go, he's resting. You can't meet him now. So, okay, we have brought this, you keep it, and we'll be happy if this letter goes to his hand. So we left the place. The same afternoon, again Gajapati, the king, came to our ashram. He told, Swamiji, can you drop me in Baligwali ashram? From there I will go. A brother monk of mine was accompanying the king. So when they went, at that time, Pujya Swamiji, Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj, he was having his evening walk, strolling. So my brother monk, he wanted to bow down to him. And Swami Chidanandaji, you saw in the photograph, he had flower garland, people were bringing flowers to him. In later part of his life, he said no flower garland. He not to touch his feet. So this young monk, my friend, he went and bowed down. He looked at him. He said, where are you from? Swamiji asked. I'm from this ashram. Oh, in noontime, one young monk came. You can imagine 16 years ago. So was he from your ashram? Yes. Why did he come? To invite you to come to our ashram. So what is going on? So little conversation. Then he said, tomorrow I'll go. Somebody came and told, tomorrow we have this meeting. He said, keep quiet. Who told him not to come to me? You can't imagine how much scolding those who were taking care of him had to face. Next day, he came to ashram. At that time, ashram was quite small. It was a new 2-storied building. Upstairs is the meditation hall. I know Swamiji doesn't like to be garlanded, so not to wash his feet, as it is a traditional way to greet a holy man. So we were standing, the car stopped, he came out. I was having 2 red color water lily in my hand. Somebody gave me, it was in my hand. He just took those 2 water lilies from my hand, looking at them. So he gave one to me and he got hold of one. And he found there is one plate with a lamp. He took it. He stood in front of the building and started doing arati in front of the building. Look, anybody will see that we do arati, Vespar, in front of the altar, in front of the deities. There is nothing a building. In front of the building, he started doing arati. Then he handed over the lamp, bowed there, then he climbed up. Because of his age and to climb up steps was a little bit difficult for him, but he climbed up. And he sat down there. Before he sat sitting down on the stage, In the altar, all the masters, he was bowing flat. Then he sat down and we had satsang. The purpose of telling this, the humility, love, and understanding the mind and feeling of others, which is a great quality of great people. We ignore but I have seen him when I was staying in Sivananda Ashram in early 80s. So I used to do some seva. So among my seva, I used to write address in the membership department. I used to write address. I normally stayed for 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months. Evening time, I used to arrange the cushion for the satsang. And after the arati, I used to take the plate to arati lamp. So it is a privilege to go to all the big Swamijis, to go to their front. So it was nice opportunity to see these great people like Swami Chidanandaji, Swami Krishnanandaji, Swami Madhavanandaji, and especially Swami Chidanandaji. He was so particular, meticulous. For everything, it should be like this. If we keep the shoes should be like this. If you keep a glass of water covered, it should be like this. It should not be like that. Every little thing, looking at it very seriously. And when I'm standing here to talk on the centenary occasion of Pujya Swamiji, here I remember I participated the centenary celebration of his master, Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj. And I have seen him with how much love, how much, he always said that, he didn't say I'm child of Shivanandaji Maharaj, he said I'm humble servant. Gurudev ka sevak hu. So with so much of humility, so much of surrender, so much of commitment, so much of dedication, unbelievable. However, we are here to celebrate his birth centenary. As we heard, today is a special day. The first special day, today is the birthday of Lord Buddha. His name was Gautama. Gautama, it comes from the word Gotama. Go means sense organs. Tama means taking them to the superlative state, meaning keeping the sense organ thoroughly disciplined, and the sense organs will be dedicated to goal alone, nothing else. The meaning of Gautama. And this is possible. His father's name was Suddhodana. His father's name was Suddhodana. Suddha means pure, Odana means food. Odana means food. Suddha, Odana. Pure food, purity in food. Now, purity in food, it has few aspects. I'll tell a little bit about food. When it was my first days in Sivananda Ashram. As inspired by Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, I was following very strictly the food. No chili, most of the times no salt, very bland food. And my first day in Sivananda Ashram, I got really confused. I found whatever Swami Shivanandaji tells, it is completely opposite. Spicy food, South Indian sambar, rasam, so much of chili, and so much of chili, I had to run to toilet. From the very beginning of my stay in Sivananda Ashram, at that time Swami Chidanandaji used to travel more, Swami Krishnanandaji was there. Krishnanandaji became very close to me, just like my local guardian, my mentor in Sivananda Ashram. He said, young man, I think you are thinking something. I said, yes. So what do you think? I said, Swami Shivanandaji told, don't eat chili, don't eat this, don't eat that. And here in the dining hall, everything is there. Oh, you have stomach trouble? I said, yes. So tomorrow you will do one thing. He said, what? When you are sitting in the dining hall, when they are coming to serve all this spicy food, you just show your hand like this. I did that. When I showed my hand, they didn't give me the sambar and this. Then somebody came with no salt, boiled dal. So when Swami Krishnanandji saw me, told, "You got your food?" I said, "Yes, Swamiji, thank you." Shuddha Odana, the name of Buddha's father, purity in food. Purity in food is of two types. One is the food which we eat. Food should be moderate, food should be healthy, food should be dedicated to God, offered to God before we eat. Don't eat food just to satisfy your palate. You should thank God in every bite of food. This is what Shuddha Odana. Now, this is eating food with the mouth. Now, I will tell a little bit more about the food. I am looking at you. You are food of mine. I am eating you with my eyes. I am eating you with my eyes. And you are also eating me with your eyes. So I am your food and you are my food. Not only that, whatever we hear, suppose now you are hearing to this discussion. This theme of the discussion is your food. You are eating and I am serving. So in a practical way, whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we smell, taste, or touch, it is food. Do we think that this food also should be good? I should see good. I should hear good. I should speak good. I should smell good. We speak of God, 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 God. But where is God? First to be good, do good, see good, then you think of God. You can, if you be good all the time, if you can see good all the time, if you can speak good all the time, if you can do good all the time, then God is not far behind you, far away from you. It is near you, with you, always. So first to be good. That is why those who are associated with Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj's teaching, serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize, be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate, be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate, serve, love, give, purify. So, very practical, dynamic teaching of Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj and spread all over the world by his beautiful disciples. Few of them you saw in the movie, like Swami Venkatesananda, Swami Satchidananda, Swami Vishnudevananda, Swami Sahajananda, Swami Paramananda, Swami Jyotirmayananda, like this. And in India, Swami Krishnanandji, and all over the world, Swami Chidanandji Maharaj. How can we really pay homage to him? Somebody asked me, this was recently in New Zealand. Somebody asked me about birth and rebirth. Swamiji, you will be born again or not? So I said, it is not in my hand. If God wants, God wants. And if God tells my child, you are to be born again, I will tell, I will be born again in India. Everybody looked at me. In India, not in USA, not anywhere? No. Why not in US or anywhere in India? Because what I am today, it is because I am born in India. If I would have been born abroad, nowadays the situation is changing. We have lots of opportunity in the West. So, India, since time immemorial, has gifted to the humanity so many beautiful saints and sages until now. And India's message of spirituality is not confined with the barrier of any religious dogma. It is not that only my religion is great. It is we all are great. I will conclude my discussion with one example. We were in Assisi to hold a retreat quite few years ago, maybe 14, 15 years back. It was in a Catholic monastery run by the nuns. by God's grace, by the grace of St. Francis, whom we really love, and Swami Chidanandaji loved. So we had the retreat. One nun, only one nun who could speak and understand English, wanted to meet me. So our first meeting, we are sitting face to face. He said, Swami, how can I address you? I said, you can address me as your child, as son. She paused for a moment. For a nun who has dedicated her life to Jesus, unmarried, and somebody is telling that I am your son, then since that day till now, she loves me as her son. She writes me. Once she wrote me after this incident, she wrote about herself and her feeling. I never thought that in my life I will have a son. And I never thought I will have a son, a monk who is from India. It is a mysterious play of my Lord, and he brought you to me. So in the first meeting, he said, you are from India. You are a Hindu. What do you think of Christianity and Jesus? So we had a vase with flowers. I said, look at this vase with the flowers. How many flowers are there? Many, of different colors, of different sizes, of different names. So just like one is Christianity, one is Islam, one is Hinduism, one is Buddhism, one is Jainism, one is Sikhism, one is Zoroastrianism. So all these are like different flowers, and all are dedicated to God. She said, wait. She had a piece of paper. On the paper, she drew many flowers like a bunch and writing Christianity, Islam. And she was so delighted to hear. This is the time the world needs this. This amity, unity, fraternity, acceptance, recognition, love. Not that I am superior to you. The essence of Vedanta lived by the great masters like Swami Shivanandaji, like Swami Chidanandaji, like Paramahansa Yoganandaji, like my master, all these masters at present age, in the past, they have taught us to love all, to serve all, unconditionally, experiencing divinity, accepting divinity, omnipresent divinity. So this is the life what we have to live. If we live this type of life, then we can pay our real homage, our love to these great masters like Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj, whose birth centenary we are celebrating here today. I had the opportunity to be in the inaugural ceremony of this centenary couple of years ago, which was inaugurated by the ex-president of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam. I was also present last year in September, from September 25th onwards, in Puri, the beginning of the centennial year. I am so happy to be here and to speak on this great master, and whom my master described, if you want to see humility personified, you should see Swami Chidanandaji. And I pay my deep love, my respect, my regards to Swami Chidanandaji, his master, Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, and along with them, to my master and the lineage, to all the masters, to all the divine incarnations of all religions, of all times and all places. Let us sit silently for a minute. Wherever you are, let us close our eyes with deep love. Let us remember God and to pray to God from our heart for peace within, peace in the family, peace in the society, community, peace in the whole world, not only among human beings, but in all living beings. Om. Amen. I think the program will not be complete if we don't sing a little. So, only 2 lines, and I will lead and you will follow it. Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva pahi mam. Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva raksha mam. Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva pahi mam. Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva, Sadgurudeva raksha mam. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. I bow to all of you. Thank you all.